All right, with that, we'll go ahead and get started. Again, everyone, my name is Daniel Garcia. I am an advisor in the Center for Global Education. I advise specifically for our business students, but we do have advisors for all majors, one of whom is with us today. Caroline, she is a graduate advisor for us, and she also studied abroad herself. She'll talk about her experience. And we've also got Morgan on the call. Morgan studied abroad himself, and he is a peer advisor in the office. So he's going to talk a little bit about his experience abroad towards the end of the presentation. But thank you very much for joining us today. And without further ado, here are a couple of quick facts about studying abroad here at Chapman. You can see the infographic in the bottom left-hand corner there. Those are all of our majors and how well they're represented on our global education programs. As you can see, almost all of our majors go abroad. What I want to get across here is that regardless of your major, there are abroad opportunities for you. We recommend that you reach out to us earlier than later, and that way we can plan your schedule and make sure that you're able to participate in the program that you want to participate in. But don't think that just because you're a STEM major or you're a film major that you're not able to participate. In fact, we get a lot of students from those majors and other majors who people may think typically don't study abroad actually get to participate. Between fall of 2018 and summer 2019, you can see we sent over 800 students. So that kind of gives you an idea of how dedicated we are and how many Chapman students go abroad. In fact, 46% of Chapman undergraduate students have an international experience before they graduate. That's what's under my head right there. So it's very common, it's very typical for Chapman students of all majors to participate. What I'm going to go over today quickly are the 3 different types of programs that you can participate in here as a Chapman student. And I'll go into each of these programs in more details on the upcoming slides. But essentially what we offer are 3 different programs. One is the semester program where you go for a full semester. The other is a travel course, which is a short-term program. And the last program mentioned there are international internships. They take place over the summer, and it's great for professional development. The first program that I'll detail are the faculty-led travel courses. These take place over interterm, spring break, or summer. So they're more short-term. They're usually 1 to 4 weeks in length. And it's one course, so it's worth 3 to 4 Chapman credits. And as long as the program is international, then that will be counted towards the Global Studies General Education requirement. We do offer domestic travel courses also. In fact, there's a travel course that goes to New Orleans. There's a travel course that goes to New York. And so if you're interested in staying domestic, there's travel course options for you also. What are great about travel courses is that they're led by Chapman faculty. So it's a fantastic opportunity to get one-on-one attention and interaction with the Chapman faculty and to build that connection with them. And you're with other Chapman students. So you're kind of, it's a more seamless transition educationally and academically when studying abroad. There's no GPA requirement to participate in a travel course, and you can participate as a first year or a 5th year for any, it's open to any class level. The next program that I'm going to talk about are international internships. International internships take place only over the summer, and they're 8 weeks long. We currently offer them in 7 different locations. We have one in Dublin, in Prague, in Shanghai, in Santiago, Chile, in Australia, New Zealand. I think I got them. But we're also working on opening a program in Italy for next summer. So if you're interested in doing Italy. And these internships are in English with the exception of the program in Madrid, Spain. That program is in Spanish. And you do earn 3 Chapman credits, and those 3 credits are applied towards the Global Studies GE here at Chapman. I think the most intriguing element to international internships is that they are entirely customizable. So you don't need to have any experience beforehand. What you'll do is you'll speak with our partners and you'll tell them exactly what you want to get experience in, and they'll go and find an internship for you. So it beats doing the legwork yourself of having to reach out to employers, try and offer yourself as a volunteer or an intern, and hopefully they email you back. What we'll do is we'll put you in contact with someone who will do all of that for you, and then they'll, on a nice pretty platter, put the internship available to you, and you can choose to accept it. Students need to be juniors in standing at least at the time of their internship, and you do need to have a 3.0 cumulative GPA to participate in it. I'll just say that I'm a big proponent of international internships because it's a great opportunity to get all of the experience that comes with the normal international experience coupled with professional development. So it looks great on a resume, and it gives you plenty of talking points to bring up in interviews. And the last program, so we've gone over travel courses, which are short-term, led by Chapman faculty. We've gone over internships, which are professional development focused and take place over the summer. And this last program are semester programs. So this is when you go abroad to a foreign institution and you take a full semester load of classes. We offer over 90 programs in over 40 countries. So we're really all over the world, and you can see the continents listed there. For semester abroad programs, students apply 1 year in advance. So if you want to hit the ground running and you want to go abroad on a semester abroad program immediately when you join the Chapman family, you will apply fall of your first year to be able to go abroad fall of your second year, your sophomore year. So in that sense, you do need to be a sophomore at least at the time of your participation. Semester abroad programs require a 3.0 cumulative GPA, and students need to attend a Global First Steps presentation. And that's a presentation that will go more in depth on all these programs, as well as the application process and other things that you need to consider when studying abroad, such as scholarships and other considerations. Semester abroad programs are a great opportunity to fulfill major, minor, or any other credit that you want to fulfill abroad. So you can cover GE's credits, you can cover themed inquiry credits, whatever you're looking to get credit for. There are opportunities abroad in several locations to get that credit that you're seeking. You will earn Chapman credit and grades, and those grades will be factored into your GPA. With all of this said, I know that's a lot of information. I want to reassure everyone that this presentation is being recorded. You'll get a copy of it, so you don't need to be taking down frantically a whole bunch of notes. What I would prefer that you do is consider ideas that come to mind and questions that come up. Save them for us, and you can enter them in the Q&A, and we'll answer them at the end of this presentation. And a substantial note on finances. I'm sure everyone's wondering how they're able to pay for this experience. And on all of these programs, you will be billed just as if you were a student here at Chapman through the Chapman Student Business Services portal. So the ePay portal, if any of you are familiar with that already. There are budget worksheets that we offer for all of these programs, so you can iron out exactly what your expenses will be on each of these programs. And the advisors in the office, such as Caroline and myself, will help you fill out those budget worksheets. In addition to those budget worksheets as a resource, there are several scholarships offered both by Chapman and organizations that we endorse that will help defray the costs of all of these programs that I'll get into now. The cost of semester abroad programs is the same as if you were a student here at Chapman. You're billed the same exact tuition as if you were a student here. If your program comes with housing and meals, then you'll also be billed that through Chapman. The only thing additional that students pay for when studying abroad on a semester program is a $500 study abroad fee. So you can consider studying abroad being exactly the same as here at Chapman, plus $500, and then expenses like airfare and going out expenses or travel expenses that you'd like to do while on your program. And to help with those costs, there are those scholarships available. Your financial aid will be applicable on all of our programs. On a few of our programs, they will only accept federal and state aid. That means scholarships and loans from the government, but on the grand majority of our programs, all of Chapman aid will be accepted. So that includes the President's Scholarship, the Dean's Scholarship, scholarships like that through Chapman. Travel courses and internships work a little bit different. They have the cost of tuition, so 3 or 4 credits. Oftentimes that tuition cost can be waived, and we're happy to go over that with you. But these programs will have a cost of the program that is more out of pocket and additional to the tuition that you would be responsible for. You'll see the range of those program costs listed under each program header in this slide. And to help work with these costs, there are those scholarships available, many of which are offered through Chapman and many more of which are offered through external organizations. We recommend that you meet with your advisor to identify scholarships that you are eligible for to help pay for those costs for short-term programs, as well as scholarships that you're eligible for the semester programs. What I want everyone to remember through this is that studying abroad doesn't have to be more expensive than studying at Chapman. Oftentimes it can even be cheaper depending on the cost of living at the country that you're going to be studying abroad in. What I want everyone to remember is that it can be cheaper. You can always study abroad with a budget. There are scholarships available, and our advisors in the office and peer advisors like Morgan are here and able to help you identify the exact expenses that you're going to be responsible for when studying abroad. Safety is the #1 priority when it comes to students going abroad here at Chapman. Throughout COVID, we haven't had students be able to go abroad because of safety. And at this point, the earliest that students are going to be able to participate is spring 2022. So I'm very optimistic that spring 2022 will go through, but it largely depends on if any governments abroad have restrictions on letting people from the US enter their countries. But with the vaccination schedule in the US, it's looking up, but obviously not guaranteed. We will not send students abroad until it's safe to do so. And all of the programs that we work with are vetted in terms of safety protocols that they have in place, support systems that they have in place for students. So it's not like we've just chosen these programs out of the blue. They've gone through serious and rigorous safety protocol evaluations before we accept them. All of these programs offer 24/7 support on site. So there's staff on all of these programs. It's not like we're dropping you off on in these locations and it's up to you to figure it out. That's not the case at all. Oftentimes on these programs, there's airport pickup to take you to the place that you're going to be living. And there's always someone available to you, and you'll get their phone number when you get on site to reach out to in case of emergencies. We also offer supplemental insurance for students going abroad that will help them on top of the insurance that they already have. The Department of State has these levels, and students abroad are only able to go to programs at level 1 or 2 countries for safety reasons. This is our slide on a plethora of resources that we offer. And what I would like everyone to get from this slide is that it doesn't matter if you're a low-income student, if you're a first-generation student, if you're a Black student, a queer student, a Latinx student. We offer several resources, and we want to reiterate the fact that it's absolutely possible for students of any background to participate in our programs. At the Center for Global Education, we encourage and support students of all identities and backgrounds to study abroad. As you can see in the top left corner here, there are several recurring events that happen every single year related to a variety of identities. So there's things like panels, like series, like workshops available for students of a variety of backgrounds. We also have a recently released podcast, which Caroline is currently featured in. She's also written a blog for us, and Morgan is soon to be featured in as well. And they relate to a variety of different identities, many of which you may share a mutual identity with. And in addition to these resources, there's several other resources available on our website. You're welcome to check it out at chapman.edu/CGE diversity resources. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and pass it off to our first alumni panel. Morgan, are you there? I think your video just turned off. If you're not there, we can go to Caroline. You're with us.
Hey.
All right, let's pass the torch off to Morgan.
Oh, thanks, Daniel. Hey guys, I'm Morgan. I'm a strategic and corporate communication major, and I have a double minor in visual effects and the creative and cultural industries. I studied abroad last spring in Tokyo, Japan through Temple University. I'm also a peer advisor for the Center of Global Education, so I can help you navigate the application process as well as answer any questions you have from a student's point of view. I chose Japan because I've always been passionate about their culture, food, just everything that it has to offer with nature, technology, all of that good stuff. But something that I wish I knew before I went was to at least do something every day. There would be times when I would be a little bit maybe fatigued and I just wanted to stay back home and watch Netflix. But I really wish I did at least a small thing every day, such as going to visit a coffee shop nearby or visiting a local mall, just to do something for every day.
Thank you, Morgan. And Morgan and Caroline are both going to be available to answer questions through the Q&A at the end of this presentation. So if you got any questions for Morgan, he's a great resource. Feel free to throw it in the Q&A and he'll answer it at the end. And with that, I'll go ahead and continue to Caroline.
Awesome. Hi, everyone. Like Daniel said, my name is Caroline. I'm one of the Global Education Advisors in the CGE. I specifically advise for Korean and undeclared students. I also did my undergrad at Chapman. I double majored in psychology and integrated educational studies, and now I'm sticking around at Chapman because I loved it so much to do my master's in leadership development. As you can see from my slide, I was able to study abroad on a program called Semester at Sea. And these presentations are always super fun for me because the first time that I actually heard about Semester at Sea was when I was touring Chapman the junior year of high school. I remember my tour guide briefly mentioning that you live on a ship and you travel around and take classes on the ship and visit different countries around the world. And I was like, wow, this sounds amazing and surreal. If I go to Chapman, maybe I'll have the opportunity to do this. It's kind of always in the back of my mind. And then flash forward, ended up going to Chapman, getting involved on campus, and I really wasn't sure if I wanted to leave for a full semester. But I ultimately decided to do it because I saw it as an opportunity to be able to travel and see places that I maybe would never go live in for an extended period of time. So for my voyage, we left out of San Diego, stopped in Hawaii for some fuel, went to Japan, traveled all through Asia, around Africa, and then ended in Europe, where I was able to travel with some of the friends that I met after the formal program ended. And I think what I wish I knew is to journal, take videos, find ways to remember the day-to-day life, because photos like this will pop up on the screen. I'm like, oh, wow, those are me. I actually was able to do those things, because it kind of feels very distant after the fact. But as cheesy as it sounds, I think it was one of the best experiences of my life. And I always find myself reflecting on it in some way or another every day, whether it was the people I got to meet, the places I got to see, especially when they'll pop up in the news, just a much more global perspective, the friends that I got to meet that I still stay in touch with. It really changed my perspective and outlook on a lot of things. And so my advice, wherever you end up deciding to go to college, is to take advantage of the opportunity. I think it really changed me in a lot of beneficial ways. So I'll pass back over to Daniel, but if you all have any questions for me or Morgan on either the student side of things or the advisor side, we're more than happy to help however we can.
Thank you very much, both Caroline and Morgan. Awesome resources. They currently work in the Center for Global Education, so not only here, but you're also going to be able to keep in contact with them after. Also very smart students themselves, so please take advantage of them. And with that, this is our final slide. A very big thank you to everyone, and I'm going to go ahead and get started answering on the Q&A. So if you have questions, feel free to throw them in there. But just to review this slide, our email is there for the office. It's globaled@chapman.edu. Our phone numbers there also were available 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Pacific time. And our website, where you can get all of the information that we've been reviewing here today and more, is chapman.edu/CGE, and you can explore the programs we offer on our application portal called the Global Gateway at studyabroad.chapman.edu. So thank you again, everyone, for joining. Again, my name is Daniel. It's been a pleasure speaking with y'all, and I'm going to go ahead and open up this Q&A and see what we've got to answer here. So it looks like we have some questions related to majors and how students can study abroad being a specific major, for example. Morgan, would you mind answering, when a student is a certain major, how should they go about searching for a program?
Yeah, of course. So that's a really great question. So on our Global Gateway website, it's basically where you would be filling out your application materials. We do have a drop-down menu that gives you a list of all the Chapman schools. So for example, Dodge, School of Communication, et cetera, et cetera. You would click on that and it'll give you the list of majors under that school. So let's say you're film production in Dodge. You would click on film production and it'll give you a whole list of programs that will be best recommended for your major. However, you can do other things just in case you see a program not listed that you were interested in. So it's completely possible for you to take your major and minor electives in that recommended program. However, if you want to plan ahead, you can even take your general education requirements abroad. You don't have to take your major classes if you can't. But for me specifically, I took Japanese religion, which was a general education course, and that looks completely different in Japan than if I took that here in the US. So that's something to also consider as well. You're able to take your GEs, your major and minor classes if you really want to.
Thank you, Morgan. And that's a great question also for everyone asking that in the Q&A. And it's fantastic that you're here getting all this information and asking that question, because that means it's already in your mind and you can meet with us and we can plan out your schedule so that way you're able to study abroad wherever you want and take all those courses. Oftentimes students get to think about studying abroad late in their career, and then they have more limited options to choose from. Versus now, if you're already thinking about it, you come in and meet with us in the beginning and you save some GEs, for example, to study abroad, then it opens up the opportunities that you can go because you're not limited to the certain programs that are recommended for a specific major or that offer enough classes for you. So great question. Thank you very much, Morgan. And Caroline, we got a question about scholarships and grants. Would you mind talking a little bit about scholarships that are available and anything that you might have received when you were a student?
Yeah, so I know you briefly touched on this, but about 90% of our semester abroad programs are all current aid programs, meaning that any federal, state aid, Chapman scholarships, or grants, the only work study never applies because, to be honest, you don't really have time and there's all sorts of strange visa working rules. But if you do an all current aid program, you would essentially be paying the same thing you would be if you were taking classes and living at Chapman, just plus that $500 study abroad fee. You can also apply to tons and tons of other scholarships. We have scholarships based on identity and diversity factors, need versus merit based, how long you're gone for, so whether you want to do a whole academic year or you just want to do a short-term travel course. We have tons of scholarships available for that. And I can go ahead and put the link to our scholarship page in the chat as well.
Thank you very much, Caroline. And Caroline is humble and didn't mention that she got a scholarship to go on semester at sea. We also, through Chapman, offer one. Morgan, do you have any other advice on scholarships, or do you have any scholarships that you'd like to highlight?
Yeah, of course. So kind of what, Daniel was describing earlier was that you're not limited, especially if you have many different identities. For me, I'm a first-gen student, so that means neither of both my parents went to school. And so we at Chapman have a really great first-generation students program. If you are first-gen and if you don't know your first-gen, you can ask your advisor and they can kind of guide you through that. But basically, there's going to be a lot of great scholarships on our website that you can check out. But for me specifically, I took advantage of the funding for first-gen students. So they were able to completely take care of my airfare. And you can imagine how much money that saved me to spend that on personal expenses, anything that I wanted to get when I was there. So I highly recommend, especially now starting your search, seeing what's out there, because it'll be probably reoccurring annually and you can start preparing for essays. For me personally, I just had to fill out a couple of things, but I think it's a really great way to, be able to buy other things when you're abroad.
Thank you very much, Morgan. And at the website that Caroline just threw in the chat, you will see a list of scholarships that are available. It's non-exhaustive, so there's several other scholarships that you can find out there. When I was searching for scholarships, for example, to study abroad, I was thinking about ways that I might be eligible for a scholarship. And this is what I recommend that all students do. Think about ways that you could qualify for a scholarship. So for example, I identify as Mexican American, as male. And so when I was going abroad, I was typing into Google Mexican American scholarship for study abroad, Mexican American scholarship for Argentina, Latinx male student scholarship for study abroad in Argentina. And I was just scouring the internet to see what was available and then applying, obviously vetting out those organizations that I found and making sure they were legitimate, but then applying to those scholarships. So I recommend doing the same for y'all. Absolutely use that list that we provide on our website, but you can also find several organizations or companies out there that might be willing to support you. So yeah, that's also a great way to go about it. Getting back to the Q&A, are there any Dodge specific study abroad options or film production specific options? Yes, there are options available both on travel courses and on semester abroad programs. In fact, there might be some internships, some international internships available. What I would recommend for all students who are thinking about their specific major is explore our website at studyabroad.chapman.edu, and you'll be able to filter by major, and you can also look at previous travel courses that were offered and see which ones were offered that could work for your major. And We had a question about the next time that we think study abroad will happen, considering the pandemic. As I was mentioning earlier, yeah, it's absolutely something that is of paramount priority for Chapman. Right now, the first opportunity students can go abroad is spring 2022, and we're hoping that summer 2022 thereafter will also be available. And it looks like we have a specific semester at sea question. Caroline,
Yeah.
you're our semester at sea queen. Can you please elaborate on semester at sea? And this student specifically asked about the application process, but I'm sure any information.
So this applies for any program actually. So what will happen is once you're a Chapman student officially, it's your first semester on campus, you're able to attend something called a Global First Step session, which is basically a comprehensive presentation, and we'll go far more in depth on all of the information we just covered. We'll talk about how to find a program based on your major or minor, what factors you should consider when looking for a program, what might be best for you, who you should meet with in order to help you throughout this process. And after you attend one of those Global First Step sessions, you apply directly through our office. So you apply directly through Chapman first. And then once you're accepted through Chapman, we'll say, okay, go fill out an application for your specific program. So for example, if it's semester at sea, go fill out semester at sea's application. And the semester before you go abroad, you're working with both Chapman and your program. So in this case, semester at sea to prepare to go abroad. So in a lot of ways at Chapman, we almost force you to start the planning process really early. So you apply 1 year in advance for semester abroad programs, which at the time seems really early. You're like, I don't know what I want to do in a year from now. But that also really helps you in terms of planning out courses, knowing which classes you should register for at Chapman, knowing which ones you can take abroad, and getting connected with both your academic advisor and your global education advisor really early. And I'd say there's you'll hear all these different advisors. You have lots of support in different areas at Chapman, but specifically your global education advisor will meet with you to help you figure out how to apply to what particular program you're interested in.
Thank you, Caroline. And yeah, we had a question, another one about grants and scholarships. So I recommend checking out that website to see which ones you might be eligible for there. And as far as them being decided upon and how they are, each of these organizations that offers the scholarships is going to be looking for different things. So I recommend looking at the criteria that they consider when accepting an applicant to see how you should formulate your essays and so on and so forth to set yourself up for the best success for attaining the scholarship. Caroline and Morgan, can you talk a little bit about what was unexpected about your travel abroad experiences?
Morgan, I'll let you go first.
Okay, got it. All right. So there was a lot of things that were unexpected when I was in Tokyo, Japan, but all very nice. So one of the biggest things I think was I went to Tokyo for myself, and I thought that I was just going to be there independently alone. But I really, truly did make great connections when I was there. I'm even friends, and I keep in contact with a person that I met there that I only met for like 3 months when I was there. However, I consider him one of my lifelong friends and possibly a potential groomsman. So that's just something to consider. You're going to meet a lot of great people there. Expand outside of your Chapman bubble. That was a big thing. The other thing that was unexpected for me, I had a really unique experience due to COVID. I was actually brought back a couple days early because of the pandemic and everything that was going on. However, this is just a plug for the Global Education. They did a really fantastic job at making sure that I was okay. They are really communicative with you when you're there. You're not gonna feel alone. You'll always have their support. And if you need anything, they are just a phone call, email, or message away. So I think that is something that was unexpected, but I was able to really experience productively with them.
Yeah, very similar to Morgan. I think how quickly you're able to form connections and bonds with people. As I briefly mentioned, I was not sure if I wanted to go. I was terrified going to live on a ship for 4 months in the middle of the ocean. But I think once I got there, I realized how similar everyone was feeling and how quickly you're able to just build connections through that process, whether it's sitting across from each other at dinner and not having phones that work in the middle of nowhere. And then also translating that over into navigating different countries and cultures. And I think one of the other things that surprised me was how well we were all able to figure it out. So not being able to speak the language in a lot of the places we were going to. Semester at sea certainly prepares you for the countries you're going to. But how quickly you're able to say, okay, let's go rent a hostel in this place and let's go do this, and be able to meet people and kind of figure it out along the way. And through that process, you're able to form friendships really quickly with people, which is amazing.
Thank you very much, Morgan and Caroline. We got another question in the Q&A specifically related to semester at sea also, so I'm going to call upon you again, Caroline. As a dance major, would I be able to participate in semester at sea if I start planning now and do, or would I have to do a specific dance study abroad program? So I know Caroline specifically advises for students in Korean, and we have an advisor specifically for dance majors, but maybe if you're aware of semester at sea is a good option.
Yeah. I don't know in terms of specific dance courses that they'll have and how that would compare to the requirements Chapman has for the dance major. But you could always look to take different courses for your minor, or take GE courses, especially because you're already thinking about this now. You can meet with your academic advisor and start to plan out when would be a good time for you to essentially take a break from dance courses for a semester. Which a lot of times majors are flexible enough to do that. So that even if you weren't able to get specific dance credits fulfilled on semester at sea, you'd still be able to get other credits that are going to help you fulfill your graduation requirements. I know, so there were 18 of us from Chapman on my particular voyage, and I think that we had some dance ones. I don't quote me on it, but I know that there were plenty of Chapman students who were just taking GE courses. For example, I was an education major and psych major. I took 2 psych courses, my art GE, and then a general global studies course. So I was essentially able to take that semester off of education courses.
And a lot of students will do exactly what Caroline did. They'll plan ahead so they can save a GE, for example, and what Morgan did when he was talking about that Japan religion course. A lot of students will do that so they can take a really unique course abroad that'll cover a GE, such as what Morgan and Caroline did. Morgan, can you talk a little bit about the value that you see in studying abroad? Why should students do this?
I mean, I'm biased, I guess, but I think that it's a really, really great opportunity to learn intercultural skills. You are really independent over there, and you really get to navigate your own, I guess, self when you're over there. I think that in college is a really good way to experiment and learn more things about yourself. But when you're abroad, it's on I feel like blown up scale, because you're going to be completely there on your own time, managing your finances, managing your time. So it's a good way to learn those skills as well, and how to be flexible. I think one of the biggest things, if you ask an upperclassman, my fellow peers, is what they regret in college. And the biggest thing that they say is not being able to take an opportunity to study abroad. And I am so fortunate that I took that opportunity, especially going into the industry. I'm going to be a senior next year, and applying for jobs and internships and all of that stuff. Only 10% of students really actually go abroad, and it's a great way to, I guess, make yourself stand out on your resume, your interview, because you have that intercultural experience, which is a lot of things hiring managers are looking for. And we offer at Chapman, after you fulfill your semester abroad or international experience, Chapman actually, at our office, we have a bunch of like workshops to help you navigate your resume, how to tailor it to your professional goals. And I think that's a really also great way to utilize your international experience. And it just goes to show that even though you're there for a certain amount of time, that experience will carry on with you professionally, personally, and just in general with life. And so I know that can sound really cheesy and cliche even, but study abroad, it is literally the best. I'm so passionate about it. That's why I work at study abroad. So yeah, Carolyn, if you want to add stuff.
I mean, you covered it perfectly. I almost want to like flip the question and say, what would it be the value in studying abroad, right? In every single aspect, you are going to grow personally, professionally. I think how you view whatever you're passionate about or whatever you're studying is going to completely change and be expanded kind of beyond Chapman's community or even just our Southern California community. It pretty much changes you and serves as value in almost every aspect of your life and how you grow.
So it's an opportunity to kind of introspectively reflect and grow, as Morgan was kind of hinting at. It's also an opportunity to set yourself apart in the job market, as Morgan was getting at. And it's like, you're in college, why not take advantage of this opportunity that you will never get again in your life? So carpe diem, seize the moment, as Caroline was getting at. I think all really, really good points.
Yeah, and I will say, like I briefly mentioned, I really was not sure if I wanted to leave for a whole semester. To be honest, I was terrified that things at Chapman were going to change. And you get back and you realize your friends are still there, your opportunities are still there. It's really, again, it sounds cheesy, but you just realize how much you've grown throughout that process.
Yeah, just to add on to what Caroline was saying, I know like sometimes a lot of people just have this mindset of, if I go abroad, then like what Caroline was saying, I'm going to miss out. I can't be involved back once I get back on campus. I'm not going to be able to take opportunities that I would be at Chapman. But from my case, I went abroad sophomore year. I'm back for my junior year. I still am able to be completely involved with other things on campus. I'm an RA. I'm also in a professional business fraternity. There's a lot of ways that you can still be involved in campus at the same time as putting in study abroad in your Chapman career. So it's completely possible for you to take advantage of the opportunities that really Chapman has to offer as well.
Thank you, Caroline and Morgan. With that, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. I want to thank everyone for joining us. I really hope to see y'all on campus in the fall, hopefully, and we can all welcome you to the Chapman family in person as soon as it's safe to do so. But thank you for joining us today. I'll go ahead and throw my email in the chat in case anyone is interested in contacting me. And with that, thank you again for joining us and have a great rest of your preview day.